Welcome back, viewers. Syndrome here with Breaking the Stream Gaming. Today, I'll be continuing my playthrough of Dark Sun Shattered Lands. On our last episode, I had finished exploring the sewers underneath the slave pens and was just getting ready to enter the secret tower of the Templar Dagolar. Now, I have to admit that I made a mistake. I accidentally didn't hit record when I went through the dungeon, so I ended up clearing it before I realized that I hadn't recorded any of it. So what I did was I returned back to the beginning of the game. I used the same characters that I had and brought them back to the same point where we left off in our last episode. Now, this means that I have a little bit of extra experience, and I already have the loot out of this dungeon. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually loot anything other than what's required. So we won't be doubling up on the good loot that we're going to get in here, but we will get a pretty substantial experience boost. Now, this right here is the game's copyright protection scheme. Like many of the old D&D games, it requires a certain letter or a certain word from a certain page in the instruction book. So I have this game through GOG.com, so I have the instruction book as part of that purchase. So I'm just going to go ahead and confirm the answer. And then we're going to head into Dagolar's tower. Now, Dagolar is a Templar living in the city who conducts experiments on his enemies and anybody that he thinks is spying on him. He is a wizard, and he is an overall kind of nasty guy. So I'm going to go ahead and just toss up haste here. These slimes can be pretty mean. They're quite a bit tougher than their equivalents out in the sewer. I'm also going to unequip the Flame Blade off of Syndrome because they are immune to fire damage. So one of the items that we did loot down here is Dagolar's Dagger, which is a +3 dagger that increases your charisma, I believe it is. Yep. So a nice find, in particular for our thief. But let's get this started. Ooh, Sinistra's pretty badly injured, so I think I might actually take a trip back out into the sewers and rest up at a campfire. After we kill this last slime. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Now, I avoided as much of the combat in the sewers as I could, so there might still be a few random enemies that we run into making our way back to camp, but it shouldn't be too many. Here we go. Luckily, these are quite a bit weaker than their Dagolar cousins from the dungeon we were just in. Let's not have you go that way. Now, in between adventures, when I was running that dungeon separately, I did reach level 7 on both Amarista and Bale. So they have now dual classed again into their final classes. Level 7? Maybe it was level 8, actually. Yes, so Bale made it up to level 8 as a thief, and Amarista made it to 8 as a preserver. So now that they're gladiators, they'll regain all of their preserver and druid powers when they hit level 9 and 8 respectively. And Bale will regain his preserver powers at 8 and thief at 9, which I believe is the maximum level in this game. Ah, man. Okay, a couple more fights here. Thankfully, nothing particularly difficult. I have no idea where those slicks came from, but okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to turn on computer control for just a minute here. Since we know we're just going to be able to slaughter these guys, I don't see a reason not to let the computer do it. It should be a little bit faster. Sinestra's pretty banged up there. Bale is a little bit confused as to what he should be doing. Now, hopefully we don't actually have to fight those guys up there. I think that once we kill these sligs here, you know what? I'm going to turn off her control. I don't want her running that way. It is going to cause us to fight those. That is very annoying. In any case, I'm running her away because she does not have the hit points to survive that. Okay, I think we got far enough away from them that combat was canceled. All right, now let's, well, we're going to have to fight those guys again, but now that we're healthy, at least, they shouldn't really pose any sort of a threat. I'm also going to go ahead and take their bows off. I think I've said it before, but ranged attacks in general in this game are they're kind of a waste. They're never going to do enough damage to warrant not getting your melee attacks in. All right. Didn't I just take his weapon off of him? Apparently they're capable of re-equipping them, so let's just go ahead and drop him on the ground, I guess. I mean, I'm sure that I'll regret that once I need to have a ranged attack for something, but what can you do? Okay, finally made our way back into Dagolar's tower, or rather, the tunnels underneath it. Now, in these tunnels, Dagolar performs all kinds of experiments on his prisoners, turning them into various furniture pieces and statues and various other nightmarish creations. So here we have one of the Tari, the rat folk, and he is going to offer to help me kill Dagolar, which is, much appreciated. The only problem with that is he is actually Dagolar himself, posing as a rat in order to gain our trust. So we will have to deal with that when it comes. Here we have just a simple fight against a couple of zombies, nothing really threatening. In fact, Sinestro here might even be able to take out half of them. I forgot that I was no longer hasted. But yeah, no threats there. Next, we'll move up here and deal with a couple of enthralled. Well, I suppose they're not even so much enthralled as they have had their souls stolen. So these guards are just generally not our allies. And apparently, I just had bows hidden away in a box somewhere. That's fine. They can only have so many arrows, I'm assuming. Okay, at this point, I'm turning off auto combat. It's become more annoying than it's worth. I'm not sure why I can't turn it off there. Okay, now on each of these guards, there is a hound necklace. We'll need those to bypass a door in just a moment. Looks like one of the corpses is hiding behind this wall. Okay, so let me go ahead and equip those. You know what? I already have them. Well, I already had one of them. It must have been in one of the chests that I had picked up here previously. Okay, we have two, but we need just one more. Now, you might have noticed as I've been clicking through my inventory that I did pick up the metal axe and a second blood wraith here while I was coming through the game again. Um, it's it's a little bit better than what I would have ordinarily, but I'm not going to be keeping those for all that long anyway, so I think that's not a major deal. Okay, here we have the first of Dagolar's kind of nasty creations. It's a door constructed out of the body parts of people who had spied on him before. So, a little bit of nightmare fuel there. Here we have, some statues also made of the people who posed it. And here we have Keldar, Dagolar's second in command. He is another insane Templar. His job in this scenario is to write down names in a book of people that Dagolar has killed. Now, he prematurely has entered our names into the book, or at least he will soon. But first, he summons quite a few enemies on us, and then he runs away. So we'll deal with these promptly. I think that probably makes sense to toss up haste here. Now here we have shadows. Shadows only are able to be hit by magical weapons, I believe. So everybody should have a magic weapon by now. So they don't pose too much of a threat, but they can be a little bit annoying. All right, that should be the last of the big threats here. Now just a couple of zombies to take care of. And can we do it in one go? Yes, we can. All right, looks like we gained some levels there. Bale gained level 6 as a gladiator, and Amarista gained also level 6 as a gladiator. Level 6 is an important level for them. It gives them not an additional attack per round. I think that at level 6 they go up to 3 attacks every 2 rounds. Okay, now we'll just take a quick stroll in this direction over here to a little bit of a torture chamber area. and there we will find the location where Keldar has fled to. So now we're going to have to deal with more of his creations, but I'm just going to tell him that he's a crazy Templar and that he should die. Alright, a couple enemies here. Why don't we deal with the shadows first? I think that the slimes probably have the highest damage potential out of any of these enemies, so I guess I'll deal with them before moving on. Not much that zombies can do against us right now. Alright, that takes care of another fight. Mao has finally caught up with us. So let's just continue onwards through the rest of the dungeon. I will hold up and wait for Mao to keep pace with us, as there are some interesting happenstances that happen if he's in our party when certain events take place. Okay, now here we have an interesting chamber. As you can see, the blood trail leading to it. Inside, there is a zombie named Gobernix. He is a paladin, or maybe just a noble warrior of some sort, and the brother of Dagolar. Now, since Mao here is actually Dagolar in disguise, putting the two of them together doesn't quite work out well, so I'm going to hold off on that just for the time being. And I'm going to head down here to deal with a couple guards. Now, before I forget to do this, I'm going to go ahead and drop these hounds necklaces, as these will actually suck out the souls of Dagolar's prisoners if we get too close to them. Not sure mechanically how that works, but it's not something I want to do. Okay, now here we just have a couple of soulless guards that I'm going to butcher and put out of their misery, really. Looks like the haste spell is lasting, so that's good. After this, there will only be one more fight down here, so one more casting should have it last the entirety of the timer down here. Now that they're dead, there are just a couple of prisoners that we're going to want to talk to real quick. And they don't really have any information to give us. They're just going to say that interesting. I've never actually made it here with Mao in tow before, so let's just ask why they're here. A thief that tried to steal from him, his mistake. And really, the only thing that we can do to save them is to destroy Dagolar. So, you know what? That's exactly what we're going to do. But first, let's make our way back and talk to Gobernix, the zombie. I'm going to wait for Mao to catch up. As Mao is going to strongly protest against us interacting with Gobernix. All right. Gobernix, I'm just going to wait and see what happens here. And it turns out that he still has some sort of mental faculties. So, we're going to ask him what he's doing. And, well, he's going to say this is where his home is. He gives us a scroll, which basically is a message from his brother to him. Basically, Gobernix came here to try and stop Dagolar, but he was killed. And Dagolar decided to try and bring him back, but he can only come back as a zombie. And he's also losing his memory. And he wants us to help him. So we're going to let him come with us. And that is going to trigger the next event here. So now that we go back to Mao, he will go ahead and transform back into his actual form. And then he'll be waiting for us in his chambers. So let's head there now. Now, there is a puzzle in this room in order to get through a wall of flames. Oops, actually, this is not the right way to go. One door over, it seems. There we go. So here we have a wall of flames, and behind it a pressure plate. Now there are a few ways to open this, one of which is to go around collecting bones from the surrounding areas and toss them through the fire onto the plate. A simpler method, though, is just to talk to Gobernix. So asking him to move away, or maybe we have to look at the fire. There we go. Okay, Gobernix walks through. He's fine. I mean, he's already falling apart, so getting burnt doesn't really make him all that much less appealing. Okay, now I'm going to just buff up a little bit because we have a decently difficult fight on our hands coming up. So I'll go ahead and cast Haste on the party. And I'm also going to cast, what should I cast? A little bit of Blessing. That should do it. All right, we're going to walk through the door. And we are going to reunite the brothers. Gobernix tries to give Dagolar a hug, but it doesn't go so well. Yeah, Dagolar is a powerful enough wizard that apparently he can just cast Disintegration. And he is very much not happy with us for that. Unluckily for his sidekick, though, his sidekick likes to make inappropriate jokes. I guess it's not so much a joke as an observation, but it does not go very well for him. So Dagolar went ahead and disintegrated Keldar also. All right. Yeah, and here we have a fight. It's us versus just a swarm of slimes, and also Dagolar. Now, like all wizards, though, Dagolar can really be disabled just by hitting him once. And actually, is he even going to survive that round? He didn't. So here we're getting a big chunk of experience. And yeah, now it's just a matter of mopping up all of these slimes. I already hit this one from one side, so let's see if we can get a little bit of backstab damage in here. Nope. Moved away a little bit too much. We seem to be doing just fine so far. Plenty of targets left, even though Bale here is webbed. Well, maybe not anymore, I suppose. Okay, and this should wrap up this fight. Okay, everybody seems to have gained another level here. Syndrome is going to, what should we have him pick up? Actually, let's have him learn Ice Storm. It's a pretty decent area attack that doesn't. I don't believe that very many things, if any, have resistance to it. Now, I could pick up Fire Shield or Black Tentacles, but I think Ice Storm is probably a better bet. And same thing on Sinistra. Okay, now I'm just going to take a look at what he has here. Here we have a Wand of Controlled Body, which we already have. This cloak, which causes reduced damage from breath weapons, missiles, acid, gas, and ice storms. And that +3 dagger. Now, I am going to go ahead and take the lemon, because why not? He also has more loot in his chamber, but nothing really of any significance. So I'm just going to go ahead and rest here. And then I am going to head back out. Now, the prisoners that we talked to before have already fled. So there's really nothing to do here except to leave. No path. Let's see. And let's see if we can get to there. That'll do it. I'm not sure if the souls of all the creatures that Dagolar created have fled, but hopefully they found some peace with his passing. Okay, and with that, we have fully explored Dagolar's, well, the tunnels underneath Dagolar's tower. And I think that I'll call this video here, and I'll pick it up next time when we finally escape out into the wilds. Thanks for watching.